Okay, picture this. A tiny country in Northern Europe, smaller than most US states, barely 6 million people, brutal winters, no oil like Norway, no global tech giants like Sweden, and somehow, it is one of the richest, happiest, most equal places on the entire planet. That country is Denmark. Now here's the part that makes absolutely no sense. Denmark charges some of the highest income taxes in the world, rates that can hit over 55%. Their national sales tax is 25%. On paper, that sounds like a system that should crush ambition and slow down business. And yet businesses are booming, workers are thriving, innovation is alive, and people genuinely trust their government. This should not work. But here is the thing. Denmark does not just defy the odds. It smashes them. And when you dig into how they pulled this off, the lessons in this story challenge what most people think about how economies are supposed to function. So let's get into it. Why Denmark should not be rich and exactly why it is. Before we go any deeper, if you are new here, this channel breaks down the real forces shaping economies and markets across the globe. Hit that subscribe button and stick around, because you are going to want to hear what comes next. To understand Denmark today, you have to go back. Denmark was not always this model of prosperity. For most of its history, it was a fairly average European agricultural economy, dependent on farming, fishing, and trade. It did not have massive natural resources or a huge population to drive growth. It was stable, but not exceptional. The transformation came after World War II. Denmark, like much of Europe, had to rebuild from devastation. But instead of simply rebuilding the old system, it made deliberate choices about how society and the economy should work together for the long term. The core idea was simple but powerful. Government and citizens would act as partners, not rivals, not distant institutions. Partners. That shift became the foundation for everything that followed. At the heart of Denmark's success is the Nordic Model. It is a blend of a free market economy and a strong welfare state, and Denmark executes this balance better than most. Markets are open and competitive, private businesses thrive, and entrepreneurship is encouraged, while the government guarantees universal access to core services. What surprises many people is just how pro-business Denmark actually is. Starting a company is relatively simple, bureaucracy is limited compared to much of Europe, and competition is encouraged rather than restricted. At the same time, the government invests heavily in human capital through education, healthcare, housing support, and retraining programs. And here's where it gets interesting. What Denmark taxes matters just as much as how much it taxes. Personal income taxes are high, but corporate taxes are moderate and stable. Payroll taxes are not as heavy as many assume. The structure is designed to keep companies competitive while still funding a strong welfare system. The logic is straightforward. Businesses get room to grow and hire without excessive tax pressure. In return, individuals pay more, but they receive high-quality services that reduce private costs, like healthcare and education. Many citizens see it not as a burden, but as a trade that delivers real value. Now let's talk about one of Denmark's most impressive strengths. This small country has built global leadership in a few highly specialized industries instead of trying to dominate everything. First, pharmaceuticals. You have probably heard of Novo Nordisk. This single company became one of the most valuable in Europe. It dominates the global insulin market and has become a major player in weight loss treatments like Ozempic. This was not luck. Denmark spent decades investing in science education, research institutions, and collaboration between universities and industry. The result is a highly efficient innovation ecosystem that consistently produces world-class companies. Then there is Maersk. If Novo Nordisk represents biotech and health, Maersk represents global trade. It is one of the largest shipping companies in the world, quietly moving a massive share of global goods every day. A Danish company operating at the center of global commerce, despite coming from a country of just 6 million people. That alone shows how strategically Denmark positions itself in the global economy. But one of the most forward-thinking bets Denmark ever made was on wind energy. In the 1970s and 80s, when most countries doubled down on oil and gas, Denmark took a different path and invested in wind power. At the time, it looked risky and expensive. But that early investment led to companies like Vestas, now one of the world leaders in wind turbine technology. Today, Denmark produces a large share of its electricity from wind and exports clean energy technology worldwide. A long-term bet that paid off massively. Another key pillar is Flexicurity. It may sound technical, but the idea is simple and powerful. Most countries struggle to balance job protection and business flexibility. Too much protection makes companies hesitant to hire. Too little leaves workers insecure. Denmark built a system that blends both. Employers can hire and let go of workers relatively easily, which keeps the labor market flexible. But workers are supported by strong unemployment benefits and active retraining programs that help them move into new jobs quickly. Unemployment support can replace a large portion of income, and the system invests heavily in helping people re-skill rather than just survive. Job loss becomes a transition, not a permanent setback. The result is a highly adaptable economy. Companies can respond quickly to change, and workers are not trapped in failing industries. Now here is the factor that holds the entire system together. Trust. Denmark consistently ranks among the least corrupt countries in the world. Government institutions are transparent, and public spending is highly visible and accountable. Citizens can see where their taxes go and how it is used. This creates a powerful feedback loop. People are willing to pay high taxes because they trust the system. High compliance generates strong revenue. That revenue funds high-quality services, which reinforces trust even further. In many other countries, the cycle works in reverse. Corruption reduces trust, tax avoidance increases, services decline, and the system weakens further over time. Geography also plays a role. Denmark sits in one of the most developed regions in the world, close to major European economies and key shipping routes. Its location has always supported trade and maritime strength. Denmark also maintains relatively low income inequality. This is the result of policy choices like progressive taxation, strong labor protections, and universal public services. A strong middle class is not just socially beneficial, it is economically powerful. When most people have stable incomes, consumption remains strong, businesses have consistent demand, and growth becomes more balanced. Lower inequality also reduces social tension and political instability, which supports long-term economic performance. Now, Denmark is not perfect. There are real challenges. Immigration is one of the most difficult issues. The welfare model depends on high participation, and integrating new arrivals into the labor market quickly has been challenging, which has led to stricter immigration policies. The aging population is another major pressure. As more people retire and fewer workers enter the system, the balance between contributors and beneficiaries becomes harder to maintain. Automation and artificial intelligence also create uncertainty. As jobs change or disappear, even a strong system like Flexicurity will be tested in ways it has never experienced before. So what can other countries actually learn from Denmark? Some argue it cannot be copied due to its size, culture, or history. There is some truth to that, but the underlying principles are widely applicable. Investing in people increases productivity. Low corruption strengthens institutions. Balancing flexibility with security creates resilience in the labor market. Denmark shows that there is more than one way to structure capitalism. A country can support free markets and strong social systems at the same time if it is designed carefully and managed consistently. And perhaps the most important lesson is patience. Denmark's success was not built overnight. It came from decades of steady decisions, long-term thinking, and consistent execution across generations. No shortcuts, no quick fixes, just discipline and strategy over time. Denmark proves that even small countries with limited resources can outperform expectations by focusing on the right foundations and playing the long game. If you made it this far, thank you. This is exactly the kind of deep dive this channel is all about. If you are not subscribed yet, hit that button now so you do not miss what is coming next. One last thing, check the description below. There are links to products and resources you might find useful, all waiting for you there.